JanBask Training. Learn and grow.
What all kinds of regressions exist? The first one is linear regression. Second one is multiple linear regression. Third one is lasso. Fourth one is ridge. So today we are going to see linear regression. These things, lasso and ridge, I will tell you in nutshell. Okay, multiple linear regression. It's extension or extension of this linear regression. Let me tell you some of the basics of linear regression as well as from where we are going to import, what all things we are going to write. Okay, so till this point of time, I think it's very much clear. The first cell of the Jupyter should be normally importing all your libraries. So what else we have imported? NumPy as NP, Pandas as PD, Matplotlib, okay, .pyplot is PLT. And another line is percentage matplotlib in line. Okay, that also I have told you. It only requires to put the graphs in line. Very much specific to Jupyter. Now there are some new libraries and which are very important libraries we are going to use very frequently, okay, for almost all import of our machine learning course. Okay, these libraries, you will find everything of machine learning in those libraries. sklearn, okay, sklearn, it's nothing but it's a research center, okay, sklearn, which exists in Europe, I think in France. So they people, the scientists, they have researched and mathematicians, they have contributed, and these sklearn people, they have come up with a nice package which is specific to a Python. Okay, and I think are also there for sklearn, but not that much easily integratable libraries are there. So almost all our imports will be from the sklearn libraries. So what you are going to do from sklearn, import this thing, sklearn dot something, import x. Okay, so these things we'll see in due course. So the library which is we are going to use for importing all our machine learning models, okay, some data pre-processing, everything will be there in the sklearn. Another concept is called standardization. STANDARD, standardization. Another one is normalization. So standardization is nothing but, okay, value distance data, then you require standardization. Suppose there are two columns. So the first column is the experience of employees. Okay, so experience of employees. This is your X. Okay, I am assuming there is only one feature in the data set, and the another column, that's the target or level, that's the Y, and it's the salary. Okay, so there are one feature, one target, and there are records. Okay, like suppose the first one, index 1, for the first person, the experience in years, huh? This is in years. For the first person, 2 years of experience, the salary is around 4,000. This is in USD, US dollar. Okay, 2 years of experience 4,000, 3 years of experience 7,000. Okay, somewhere it's another 4 years of experience, but this guy is getting low, around 4,000. Okay, somewhere it's 10 years, and this guy is getting, assume that it's the 90,000. Okay, somewhere it's 5 years, this guy is getting around 60,000. Okay, figures are this salary, these figures are in USD. Okay, and this figure is in the number of years. So you see, it's called value distance data. In the data set, one value are very small, that's a tens, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 5, like this, whereas other values are in thousands. Okay, so the distance between these values are very high. Okay, if you plot a graph, that is the number line. Okay, this is, if your this graph is 0, 0. Okay, then these are the plus, positive, and negative. So you will find your x values are very much small. Okay, or the entire figure, if you are taking it onto the number line, this is 0, 0, one, some portion of values will be, your x will be around here. Okay, whereas your salary, that means the salary of persons will be somewhere around here. Okay, positive, these things, years cannot be negative, salary cannot be negative. Okay, so you see the distance between this is very high, and these mathematical models, your machine learning model, will work. It will not understand whether it's a, its column is experience, that's why it's in tens. Okay, it's a salary, that's why it's in thousands. These things we can understand because we are human beings, so we know what to expect and all. So these things we can understand, but machine doesn't work like this. For machine, these all are numbers. What machine will do, when you high valued numbers, the machine learning model will give more weightage. Okay, will give more weightage this part. Okay, this one, this word we are going to use very, very frequently. Okay, so more weight or more weightage, the model will put to the higher numbers. So then the all your model, or whatever the model you have built, the output will be highly influenced by the higher number. So the model will put more weightage wherever the number is high. So it will eventually ignore the number of experience and will try to predict everything from the number of the amount or the salary, from the salary itself. Okay, it will try to ignore the small numbers, but for our case, we know both the columns are very much important. If you can't put give the accurate number of years of experience, you cannot get almost accurate salary of that person. So for us, we know both are important. These values are high because it's salary, but for model, it will not understand these things. It will be highly biased. Okay, another term I told you, this also will going to use frequently, bias. Okay, so that's why to remove such a problem, okay, the weightage problem, what we will do either standardization or normalization of data. Okay, of data. So what is standardization? STD is nothing but if xi minus mean divided by standard deviation, STD. This is called standardization. What you are doing, okay, you are standardizing the column, okay, each column with, you are taking the mean of this column, okay, suppose 2 3 4 10 5, mean would be 2 3 5 5 5 10 10 10 20 24 24 1 2 3 4 5 divided by 5, so almost mean will be around 5. So for you, like how it is xi, and it's a summation of xi. So for the first column, or standard deviation would be, if you for time being assume that the standard deviation of column is suppose 2, okay. So the first value will be 2 minus 5 divided by 2. So 2 minus 5 is minus 3, okay. 2 minus 5 divided by 2. This is mean, okay. This is standard deviation of that column. So it will be minus 3 by 2, that is minus 1.5. Likewise, for each value, column wise, you will get a very small number which is in between minus 2 to 2 or minus 1 to 1. So this is called standardization, okay. Likewise, for this also, what you will get, okay, 7 4 11 11 15 15, okay, 15, then here 150 plus 15 165, and around 33 you will get it here, okay. Here for this column I am writing what you will get for this column, 33,000 will be your mean, okay. And standard deviation will be very high, it will be mostly in 2000s. So assume that the standard deviation is around 20 or 20,000. Okay, then the very first column, 4,000 minus 33, or simplicity assume 30,000. So 4,000 minus 30,000, okay, that means 4 minus 30, okay, divided by 20. So what you are getting? So minus 26 divided by 20. So you would be getting somewhere around minus 1.3 something, okay, this value. So instead of 4,000, this value will be replaced by minus 1.3. Now you see both the values here and here are almost similar, okay. So this way, whatever the value, okay, these things will change, like the column itself will be replaced by more compact values. So when you plot these values, number graph, okay, or number line, you will see all of values will be clustered around a particular region. And likewise, the normalization, okay. So normalization is xi. Xi means I am saying each x, okay, one by one each x minus minimum value, okay, divided by max, okay. This is called normalization. Each column, it's having a minimum value, maximum value. Subtract the minimum value from the each of the x, okay, one by one each value, and divide it by max value. You will, it's called data normalization, okay. These things are already available in a sklearn. You have to just import and use it. The four things, if you remember, h I n d b H H B H H P. The first had info, null, describe, then box plot, histogram, heat map, and pair plot. Heat map we have not seen. We'll tell you later. Okay, when it comes, we'll inform you. But as of now, the 7 things we have seen, and today one, that is standardization. So linear regression is something like there are variables that x variables. Okay, now for the simplicity, I'm assuming it's ax plus b. Okay, y equal to ax plus b. This is called the basic linear, function. Okay, so linear function, what does it mean? It says if x increase by 2, your y will be increased by 2. Okay, that's what it says. That means those x and y are linearly related. If x increase by 5, then your y increase by 5, because others are constant. Okay, it's a constant, it's also a coefficient. Okay, so the only variable is x here, and the output is y. So whatever the amount x will be changed, the same amount y will change. It's called linear equation. The regression assumes almost the same part, same mathematical function, that there is a linearity exists between the independent variable x and dependent variable y. We'll see, and interpreting covariance, correlation coefficients, we'll see all this. So before jumping regression, let's understand covariance and correlation. Okay, the correlation value will be in between -1 to 1. Okay, so it shows if x and y are these independent dependent variables. It shows if x increases, y increases. Okay, then they are correlated. Okay, if y x decreases, at the time if y decreases, okay, then also we call it, those are highly correlated. But if one increases and other one decreases, then this is not correlated. Okay, these are not linearly correlated, but there could be possible they are exponentially correlated. Okay, so when you find that there is a less correlation, it only means there is less correlation in the linear form. Okay, there could be possible they are highly exponentially collinear. This kind of things exist. So when it is rejected, you cannot say there is no correlation. But when it is yes, you can say they are linearly correlated. The difference, it's also a complicated interview question. When you find the correlation, they are not correlated, what do you mean? Okay, you can say it's a linear correlation only. Linearly correlated, it may be possible they may be correlated in some other forms. And what is covariance? Covariance and correlations are same. And why then two names? Okay, in covariance, the unit will be there when doing calculation, but in correlation the units are neutralized. That's why you are getting a value in between -1 to 1. You see here, x whatever is the unit, it's there. Y, it is multiplied, again it's there, and it is divided by only the number of sample. So that means the numerator units are still there. So that's why covariance, you will get units, whether number of years. Okay, this is amount in USD, unit will be years USD here. And the use, I will tell you, mostly the covariance is used to assess the risk in the financial industries. Okay, high covariance, that means they are highly correlated. Okay, so the risk is high when you are doing any calculation. When less covariance, then the low risk. It's the calculation is like this: each I minus notification, or this x bar, we call it y bar. The second part, it means x mean. Y bar means mean of y, okay, or mean of x column, mean of y column. N is always the number of sample or number of rows. So the mean value of the product of the deviation of two variates from their respective mean, this can be represented in formula. Okay, what is the variation from the mean? The way we have seen here, we have from the mean, we have divided or subtracted each value. Okay, 2 minus 5, then the next one is 3 minus 5, the same thing. So xi minus x bar, yi minus y bar divided by n minus 1. This is the formula for variance. So same covariance, if it is greater than 0, they are positively correlated, inversely correlated x 0, that means they are independent. So now you see, this is the correlation. Okay, so correlation, x unit of x is there, unit of y is there in the numerator, and it is divided by x and y again. So the unit of x will be in the denominator, unit of y will be in the denominator, they will cancel each other. That's why the correlation is unit independent, computation. So correlation is a statistical technique that can show whether how strongly pairs of variables are related. Okay, for example, height and weight. Okay, the average weight of people is 5.5 is less than the average weight of 5.6, and their average weight is less than 5.7. So etc. Correlation can tell you just how much of the variation of people's weight is related to their heights. Okay, so height and weights are linearly correlated. Measures the relative strengths in between -1 to 1. So closer to -1, then that means perfectly negatively correlated. Closer to 1, positive correlated. 0 means weaker. Okay, now coming to linear regression. The two variables are treated as equals, x and y. Okay, and do you remember this calculation, y equal to mx plus c, the same way ax plus b. Okay, so x is the independent variable or the predictor, and the dependent variable is y. Okay, what is slope in the case mx plus c? Yes, we have seen the slope is m. Okay, and c is the constant, or which is also called the intercept. If you know something about x, this knowledge helps you to predict something about y, because the equation itself, y equal to x plus b or mx plus c. Okay, so sound familiar? Sounds like conditional probabilities. Yes, by using regression equation we can predict y using x. There could be multiple yes. So what I am telling you, that multiple linear regression could be is an extension of linear regression. That means when you are having multiple x, and if you remember the data in this, there are many columns. Okay, it's based on the work location. Okay, or the area pin code. Suppose somebody is working with a city like LA. Okay, so if somebody is working in LA and somebody is working in Oklahoma, okay, so it's the zip code, okay, the years of experience, and somewhere the education is another column from here. Okay, education, these columns are there, and on the basis of that you are predicting the salary of a person. LA is nothing but Los Angeles, and Oklahoma also in US, another city, which is almost in the remote parts. Okay, so the person who is working in Oklahoma may get less paid. So everything dependent on the computation of salary of a person. So likewise, when you have many x columns or the variable or the feature columns, then it's called multiple linear regression. In the above slide, equation shows only one x, but in real time there could be multiple x and can be used as a regression equation to predict y. In each case, when you trying to predict something, one of the output will be your result, that is y, okay, and there will be some error part, okay, or some will be the residual part. So this residual part will not be taken into account while forming your model, okay, or the error part will not be taken. So you have to see whether the residual exists or not, okay. If it exists, if the amount is high or low. If it is high amount of residual, your model is not taking, okay, that means your model will not perform better. So as we know that for each xy could get multiple values, yes, we have seen the data set, the number of years and the salary. Y would be random variable, okay, and by regression line we can only predict the mean value of y for given x. The actual y can be very much different. We can't predict all y values, okay, the actual. We'll see the correlation, how they are varying. On that basis, model will try to learn like how it can change, okay, or how it can predict y given a particular x. Hence, there would be always an error in regression. So why this error term comes? Because always the actual value will be there, okay, and what you will predict is will not never be exactly equal to the actual y, okay. So how it is, when you are building your model, okay, you will, okay, assume that this is x, this is y, these are the 1 2 3 4, likewise 10 records are there or 10 rows are there, okay. When you are building your model, you need to divide your data set. This is the data on which you want to build the model. You take it as simple as years of experience and salary of person. So you have to divide your data, okay, what it is called train set, and another one is called test set. Okay. So you need to divide your data into training set and testing set. The training set will be used, both x and y will be used for training of the model. From here, the model will try to find some of the mathematical correlations. Okay, it will try to learn that given a years of experience, what would be the salary. These calculations, these learnings will be done in the training set. So at that time, the test set is completely hidden from the model. Okay, you will not use test sets in the training. So once the training is done, your model is ready. Okay, model is ready. Then at that time, we are going to use the test set to verify whether model is giving good result or not. So what you will do, we will give only x of the training, okay, and we'll try to predict the y because model already built, okay, model has already learned what to predict, okay, to do its job. Now the time for testing is something you will give only x and will try to predict y. Now you see, now you have two y values. One is the actual y, okay, actual y value, and another one is predicted y value. predicted, okay, predicted y value. Various matrices to find out what's the accuracy of the model. Okay, what's the precision, recall, we'll all see later. Okay, what's the MSE, mean squared error, all these things, matrix calculation we can do. Okay, so one is training set and another one is the testing set. Testing set will give x and find the predicted y, and we are having already existing y, right? Because we have divided our model testing set, training set, so we are also having the actual y. Then between 2y we can see, suppose the actual value is 30,000, okay, or 30k. My model has predicted, suppose my model has predicted 27k. Okay, so I can do calculation like what would be my accuracy or what would be my mean squared error. Okay, we'll see what all those matrices used for regression. One is called mean squared error, MSE. Another one is called root mean squared error. Normally these two are the matrices used for regression. Apart from that, the matrices we use are called MAP, mean absolute percentage error, MAD, mean absolute deviation. So these four we use for calculating our model accuracy, you can say in terms. And those are or the matrices, that's the mean squared error, root mean squared error, mean absolute percentage error, and mean absolute deviation. These are the assumptions the model takes. Yeah, it's also an interview question. Okay, what all the assumptions are taken while creating a regression or linear model? So the assumptions are relationship between x and y is linear. Okay, y is distributed normally at each value. Okay, and the variance of y at every value of x is same, and the observations are independent of each other. The relation between x and y is linear, that part we have seen. If x increases by 2, y increases by 2, that's what's the linear. Y is distributed normally at each value. That means if you draw the diagram for the y distribution, you will get a linear or the normal distributed curve. Given a value of x, okay, given a value of x, whatever the y you will get it assumes that y is normally distributed. It also says that the error part is also normally distributed. And from where you will get the error? Error will be here. Actual already you are having and you are predicting something. Okay, it's mean squared error, you will get it from here. So the error parts you will get, and if you plot those errors will also be normally distributed. That's what it assumes. So each observations 1, 2, 3, 4 are independent, and if you are having many columns, it also assumes that those columns are independent of each other. That means there is no relation between the area he is living with the years of experience with the education. Okay, so the code is R, but we are not going to use R. So tomorrow we'll show you something in Python, how you can import directly from the sklearn and use it. It's hardly a 5-6 lines of code with which you can do the regression. Okay, we'll show you tomorrow. Okay, residuals, we'll plot the residuals to find out, as I told you. If your residuals are, if you find a large number of residuals, that means your model is not built properly, because it's not taking a large amount of your data into consideration. So that's why you are getting large amount of residuals. Then we'll plot something and we'll try to see tomorrow how it is. Checking for normality. Yeah, you see it's a normal curve. Residuals, I told you the residuals the one of the assumption is the residuals are normally, or the errors are normally distributed. So the residual, whatever is left, is also normally distributed, it assumes. Now coming to advantage, disadvantage, the linear regression, it's extremely simple. It's hardly 5-6 lines of code. Okay, it's very easy and intuitive to use, to understand. Okay, linear regression is useful because many problems can be transformed into linear regression, as linear regression is the only linear in terms of beta coefficients. And the disadvantage, first disadvantage is it's saying that the columns, okay, or the features are independent of each other, but it is never the case, because assume that a person who is living in a city, called Delhi, okay, a person who is living somewhere in a remote area of India, may Bihar, okay, so their level of education will be different. Normally we expect the person who is living in Delhi is to be more educated than a person who is living in Bihar, Odisha, this kind of things. Okay, Bihar, Odisha are normally the remote areas of or states of India which are lack in education as compared to the cities. So, but it assumes that these things are independent of each other, the place of living and the education. But it's never the case, right? So that's the disadvantage. Linear regression is very sensitive to anomalies. Looks at a relationship between mean of dependent variable and independent variable. The assumptions itself is the are the problems for the linear regression. Those are the disadvantages.
JANBAS training. Learn and grow.